right, ladies and gentlemen, we are here on Title Match Network for Hurricane Pro Wrestling. I am Sammy Kiss as we get set for women's division action as the money, Renee Michelle. And as she puts it, she is worth every penny, and it's hard to argue against that. Renee Michelle going one-on-one with the Brazilian Brutale, Christi Jaynes. We get a tie-up into the waist lock from Christi Jaynes, and a reversal into Renee Michelle. Women's wrestling has become a cornerstone here at Hurricane Pro Wrestling. We want to thank you all for joining us here on Title Match Network, available on TitleMatchNetwork.com. You can also view great Title Match Wrestling action on Title Match on YouTube. As you see Renee Michelle taking down Christi Jaynes. As has been quite the pattern here this year in 2020, you never know what's going to happen. These two women only notified days ago that they were going to be competing against each other here at Hurricane Pro. Nevertheless, these two going one-on-one, and with such a short span of time, it's hard to scout your opponent. It's really going to be interesting to see how these two fare against one another. You see Christi Jaynes getting the better of that exchange, a true clash of styles. You see Christi Jaynes from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, adding an international flavor here at Hurricane Pro Wrestling. Likes that high-flying lucha libre style. She's trained in Mexico with the likes of Ray Phoenix and Pentagon, going up against Renee Michelle. See collar, you see a side headlock by Christi Jaynes. Renee Michelle, who's been training in MMA mixed martial arts since the age of 4, if you can believe it. Talk about a clash of styles and a big shoulder block from Christi Jaynes. And there's that flash of style from Christi Jaynes. Step over, and another side headlock, and takes her down. And this has been all Christi Jaynes from the get-go of this matchup. Christi Jaynes, who I'm sure wrestling fans have seen on AEW Dark, who've seen her on the Crash as of recently, making her debut here tonight on Hurricane Pro Wrestling on Title Match Network. You see the Irish whip, up and over, goes to the outside. Just Christi Jaynes, Renee going for that side elbow. And Christi able to return it. Up, goes for a sunset flip, catches her. Renee rolls through on a side kick from Christi Jaynes, goes to the cover, hooks the far leg, and only a 2 count. And faster than I can even call here. Christi Jaynes maintaining control here. Gotta believe that the international styles throwing Renee Michelle off her game here. Again, these two women have not been able to scout each other. Oh, and a side kick, knocking Christi Jaynes down. Almost a 2 count, almost that elementary. Goes for the cover again. Hooks the far leg, and again a 2 count. And Renee Michelle taking every advantage she can take in this matchup. I want to thank you all for watching us here on Title Match Network. Ford Field here in Beaumont, Texas, hosting Hurricane Pro every single month, and we thank you for joining us here tonight. We, of course, are observing social distancing protocols. As you see Renee Michelle cinching in a side headlock. And the Christi Jaynes slowing this pace down. You can't offer any offense if you're down on the mat, but Christi Jaynes trying to stand up to that vertical base. Try to create separation, does Christi Jaynes. The Brazilian Brutale, the Brazilian Wonder Woman, Renee Michelle knocks her back down. Renee Michelle was only a few years into her wrestling career, suffered a terrible injury just a year ago, an MCL, an ACL, a meniscus tear. Has been battling back to get back into the game. And a win here against Christi Jaynes would be a huge win and a huge feather in the cap of Renee Michelle to move toward bigger and better success. She again snap-marrying Christi Jaynes, Irish whip into the far corner. And a big splash. Renee Michelle, surprisingly almost in complete control. She caught Christi Jaynes with that side kick, and it's been all Renee Michelle since. Irish whip to the far corner, Christi able to reverse it. Oh, and Renee Michelle with a tilt-a-whirl down to an armbar and a Fujiwara armbar. Christi Jaynes desperately needs to get to the rope or it's going to be all over. Renee Michelle pulling her back to the center of the ring. Very smart strategy from the MMA specialist, Renee Michelle. Really wrenching that arm, but Christi Jaynes able to desperately get to that bottom rope. Renee's got a 5 count, breaks, and then kicks her arm for good measure at the bottom rope. Referee Bobby Black can let it fly. Man, Renee Michelle in complete control now. Can Renee Michelle, calls herself the money, and you can't afford her, with a side kick right to that left arm. All of her energy, all of her focus now into the arm she's been working over. Oh, and Christi Jaynes catches it. Oh, into a dragon screw. And just like that now, Christi Jaynes up on top. Goes to a jackknife pin. Is that enough? Referee out of position, and Renee Michelle back up on top. Going for the waistlock. Oh, Christi Jaynes lifts her up. Oh my God, this is a horrible position for Renee Michelle. Oh! It's almost an Alabama slammer into the corner as Christi Jaynes sets her up into almost a meteor knees right to the face of Renee Michelle in the corner. Reverse slips through. Going for a backslide pin. No, Renee slips out of it. Oh, and a knee right to the face. Right to the chin. And there's Renee going for the, oh! The moss covered 3-handle family Gradunzo. Bobby Black goes for a cover, only got a 1 count. This is one of my favorite maneuvers. The moss covered 3-handle family Gradunzo. If you don't know it, look it up. Christi Jaynes getting frustrated, goes to the ropes again. Oh, and a spin kick from Renee Michelle. Goes for the neck breaker. Oh, and smashes her face right into the canvas. Covers the far leg. Oh, and it's a 3 count.
Here